Então, agora sim, a gente vai ouvir a Érica e aprender com ela. Deixa eu compartilhar a minha tela aqui para vocês poderem ver a Érica de acordo. Pronto, Érica, por favor, com você a palavra.
Okay. Obrigada. Boa tarde. Of course, I do not speak Portuguese, but I hope I pronounce these words correctly. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Radio Advertising Bureau, let me briefly share what we do. The RAB is the trade association representing commercial broadcasters. Our primary objective is to drive revenue growth through advocacy at the advertiser and advertising agency level. And we provide our broadcast members with multiple tools and resources to help them create and grow local advertising dollars. And we also work to help attract new sales talent into the industry. And lastly, we work with broadcasters to help enhance industry professionalism through training and support. Now, due to my day job, my comments today will be primarily focused on the business side of radio. We all know that today is a new normal for all of us. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, change isn't simply an event, it's a way of life. Take this meeting, for example, and although we're not all together in person, we're all together right now. And the word Zoom has taken on a whole new meaning. In our brief time together, I'm going to touch on several areas regarding radio's challenges and our future. I'm going to talk a little bit about managing for today, some misperceptions of radio, radio's audience and our strengths, and I'm also going to share our list of the top 10 reasons that our advertisers should continue to do business with us during these difficult times. Today's managers, we have to manage better than ever. We also have to be more flexible than ever. If you've been in business any amount of time, you know that when a crisis happens, human nature says that we hit a wall and we go back and forth, but usually we end up much stronger. And there's indeed a managerial game plan for crisis environments. And it goes in 3 stages. It's the stages of your organizations, the stages of the people that you work with, and your own management style. The reality is that things never actually go back to normal, but they go forward to a new normal. Now, I know working from home is not easy for many of you and your companies. I will say, full disclosure, I've been working from a home office for the last 12 years, so I have a very different perspective than most. Personally, I find that I'm much more efficient. I don't have as many distractions, and I can focus much better. And it's focused me to actually over-communicate with my team, and has allowed those that report to me to actually think clearer without me hovering over them all the time. It's allowed them to grow and produce in a much more positive way. Now, during this business unusual time, as we like to say at the RAB, here's what we're learning about our sales teams. It's easier that we can identify who are really the novices, who are open to learning, who are the most competent, and who are the real pros. Now, I'd like to say that we can determine how effective they are much quicker right now, and we're learning who really has the relationships with their clients. And as managers, we all need to take note how they're selling and managing through this crisis. The management style identifies the culture of an organization. And your management style determines how your team is managing through a crisis. And the key is we have to adjust our style based on the situation. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's crucial for us as managers to listen closely to our team and to focus as much as we can on supporting them. We need to ask them questions that draw out their emotions and what they're feeling. And what this is telling that person is that you're listening and validating their feelings, thus supporting them to help them achieve their goals, which in turn are helping you achieve your goals. Now, I could spend hours talking about this, but I know that it's effective and it works. Now, I'd like to address some of the misperceptions of radio. With so many new and exciting options available to consumers to listen to and to watch, have you ever been has anyone ever asked you the question, is anyone listening to your radio station? Well, in the United States, AM and FM remains the top audio source, reaching more people every week than any other media. And I suspect the same is true in your country. All of us have that responsibility to tell and sometimes yell that story consistently. We all know that frequency works. Radio is an engaging media that connects with listeners in local communities, coast to coast, via on-air broadcasts, online websites, podcasts, streams, social media, and local community events. Listeners have a unique and personal connection with their favorite radio stations because of their favorite radio influencers, our on-air personalities, our disc jockeys, hosts, and our news people. Now, here's another statement I bet some of you have heard. Everyone is listening to Pandora and Spotify. Now, I have accounts with both companies and they provide great service. But despite numerous audio options, radio continues to play a very important role for music, entertainment, and information. Have anyone ever said, we all know that everyone turns off the radio when a commercial comes on? Wait a minute. Research proves that radio ads engage and influence behavior. And as the original mobile medium, radio reaches consumers wherever they are, influencing product consideration and purchase behavior. Has anyone said to you that social media is more effective than radio? Driving conversation and engagement among listeners is one of radio's greatest strengths. And the personalities on radio stations are the original social media influencers. I just saw a fantastic statistic that said, although people are using more social media today, they have absolutely no trust in it. But when it comes to radio, radio was #1 in trust, and that not only included social media, but television as well. Competition is everywhere. Social media, music streaming companies, video streaming companies, you name it. But there continues to be shifts in the behaviors of media consumption. Now, right now, people are consuming content differently, and they're consuming content on multiple devices. Well, we may need to make sure that our content continues to be everywhere, whether it be through a traditional radio, in the car, through an app, online, or on our mobile devices. Through this pandemic, it has become abundantly clear that people want to feel connected. We're all social animals. Radio allows us in real time to interact with an audience of like-minded individuals who trust us. Radio is sharing human emotion and providing true local context, again, in real time. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Now, one of the issues that we've heard loud and clear from many of our members during this pandemic is how difficult it is to ask advertisers for money. We put together a list of 10 reasons to advertise during difficult times, and I thought I would share it with you today. Number 1, if you want your business to survive after this downturn, you must advertise. Analysis of businesses and companies that didn't advertise during previous recessions revealed that they experienced significant losses post the recession. Number 2, it's important to communicate your business or service. Customers need to make purchase on common goods and services. Number 3, consumers' mind shifts, the mindsets shift. What was important to our consumers or listeners before this may have changed, and advertising highlights how your business is adapting to that change. Number 4, there's an opportunity to increase share of voice. Competitors may cut back their advertising spend, thereby creating a reduction in competitive noise. Next, businesses can create a positive image. By advertising, it can project to consumers that your business is not only stable, but it's thriving. 6, give your brand a facelift. Shifting your brand message can capture the attention of consumers who may not have related to your brand or even considered it before this pandemic. Next, deliver a plan to target consumers who are looking at ways to save money. During downtimes especially, people are working on their budgets and may try a new business or service solely based on cost. Next, if you continue to advertise, you create goodwill. Advertising doesn't have to be just about the business. It can be about your supporting your community. And people want to buy and support businesses and organizations that give back to their communities. 9, it boosts morale. Difficult times create anxiety, and cutting back on advertising will lead to reduced traffic and activity, and that only adds to the anxiety. Advertising shows faith in your business and its future. And lastly, advertising matters to their media and marketing partners. The health of an advertiser's business is just as important to their media partners as it is to the advertiser. So media and marketing partners, we want to see advertisers' continued success. As radio operators, we need to be flexible and prove our resilience. Most of us have fewer resources today than ever, but we have a major advantage. We have and need to cultivate and nurture relationships. And these are relationships we have with our own teams, our listeners, and our advertisers. I feel so strongly that our job is to provide hope, and that's hope to our communities, hope to our companies, and hope to our advertisers. Advertisers are focused on engagement through participation and improving the customer experience. They also want to create that emotional connection that drives behavior. They're looking for access to compelling, relevant content that allows them to not only connect with their customers from a marketing standpoint, but create strategy that's purposeful and enriches communities and lives. It's no surprise that there's a great desire for everything to be back the way it used to be. But we're all adapting, and so are consumers. We have all found new ways to communicate, to meet, to celebrate, and explore. And many have also become, they're allowing to incorporate some of the things that they've missed, even radio. So despite changes in workplace locations, radio has a great story, offering music, information, and entertainment has always been a value that radio has delivered. It's part of a person's day and their commute. Even if the commute is going from the bedroom to their new makeshift office, they're turning to radio more now than ever. We need to create value in every interaction that we make and have. We must never lose sight that content is most critical, and we cannot take that for granted. And we must continue to leverage all of our tools. Can you envision a time where many of you will actually continue to work from home? Even as we're doing today, and including video. And I know you're going to be talking about video in a little while, but I also encourage that you're including video in all of your digital assets and include it in your company communication as well. At the REB, I have a weekly staff meeting every Friday via video. And yes, it's a mandatory video meeting, but I'll tell you, we have fun too. We have shared recipes for our favorite drinks. We've had Crazy Hat Day. We even ran a virtual scavenger hunt one week. And I can tell you, there has not been 1 week where I didn't reinforce to all of our team members how much they matter and how much their contributions have made a difference to our members. COVID-19 has quickly changed our behavior. But one of the things that we've learned is that people are saying they're listening to audio. There is more audio consumption because radio will and continues to be that trusted voice. And we're providing the news, information, and entertainment they need and they want. Again, it was so wonderful to be with you today. I hope that my comments resonated with you. And before we take questions, I'm going to try to say this correctly. Fique seguro y mantenha-se saudável. And again, I apologize for my Portuguese, but I tried to do the best I could. So my hope for all of you is that you stay safe and continue to stay healthy.
Saudável,
Enrico?
em português. Muito obrigado, Érica. Muito obrigado. Muito boa a apresentação, ótimos comentários. E eu gostaria agora de passar a palavra para o Rodrigo, né, para que ele possa complementar e então vocês conversarem e aprofundarem um pouco mais o assunto.
Arthur, obrigado, parabéns pelo evento, excelente apresentação da Érica. A Érica, eu já tive a oportunidade de estar junto com ela no NAB, ela tem muita energia, uma grande receptiva, uma paixão pelo rádio. Ela falou muito de localismo, da empatia do rádio com as suas comunidades, e também a importância de você estar interagindo com as mídias sociais. Esse ecossistema on-air, off-air é extremamente importante. Tirando o Covid, que a gente sabe que é um buraco na receita das emissoras de rádio, como é que você está vendo a evolução da receita do rádio somando o on e o off?
Well, needless to say, revenue is being quite challenged today. However, as businesses are reopening, we are finding that they want and need to create positive messaging. And one of the things that I think we need to be very conscious of is the quality of the sounding of the commercials. So the more that we can affect how they sound, the more effective they're going to be. And I know that's a challenge because sometimes because of revenue, we need the revenue and we take commercials that may not sound as great as we would like, but the more we can communicate with our advertisers to do that is really important. And I will tell you that all of the numbers that we're seeing in the United States right now, that even though advertising is going to be down, audio is going to increase their share through this because they're finding we can get on the air quickly, we can change our messaging quickly, and we're very cost effective. And those are three very, very important messages that are resonating with advertisers.
Érica, as pesquisas aqui no Brasil têm demonstrado que a audiência do rádio tem subido muito e a credibilidade do rádio subindo mais ainda, ao contrário do que está acontecendo com as redes sociais, um descrédito das redes sociais. Está acontecendo o mesmo aí nos Estados Unidos?
Radio is certainly going up. Now, the use of social media is actually increasing here in the United States. But I think, again, one of the things that's so important that we're finding, and we were in the market with a research project as recently as the last 2 weeks. And again, the trust of social media is not there. So even though people are using it, they don't really believe it. So from an advertising standpoint, we think that's an important consideration because we're not discounting social media and all of us as broadcasters need to be on social media. But from an advertiser's standpoint, they need to be careful with what their messaging is because that element of trust is critical for them. Something else I just want to mention that we're finding out of this COVID that's going to be very positive, at least here. A big issue has been radio in the automobile. And there's been a lot of conversation about autonomous cars and ride sharing. And there is a backlash going on here in the United States with this COVID-19 that people now don't want to be involved with public transportation. They don't want to use ride shares, and they're not interested in autonomous cars. They want their own car because it's safe and it's clean and it's an environment that they can hold on to. And in fact, 2 of the automotive companies in the last week have put on hold all of their plans for the autonomous automobile here in the United States. So of course, selfishly for radio, we think that gives us an advantage right now, and I'm sure that we're going to be seeing that across the world.
Como última pergunta aqui, eu queria que você pudesse, se tiver os dados, como é que é a divisão da receita nas rádios entre comerciais nacionais e comerciais locais? E se o rádio digital, o EDG Radio, está fazendo dinheiro nos subcanais?
Local radio is still supported about 80 to 85% with local advertising, and approximately 15 to 20% of a radio station's revenue comes from national, and it depends, the larger the market you're in, the higher your national is going to be, but it is still 85% local advertising.
Posso, eu falei do HD rádio, tem subcanais, se esses subcanais do HD rádio está fazendo dinheiro.
people are still testing the sub-channels. Some are doing better than others. Some are broadcasting in HD and have not been able to monetize it yet. So it's still a testing ground for us, but some are doing some very clever things. There's a station in Florida that has a large music festival with songwriters. There's a station I know in Houston that has turned over one of their side channels to a local automobile dealer. So there's lots of different things. They're even using students to program them. But I would not say it has been a dramatic way for them to increase revenue yet.
Marco, eu queria agradecer aqui a Érica, o espaço da ESP, que todos se cuidem e parabéns pelo evento. Obrigado, Érica, por ter compartilhado com a gente aqui.
Obrigado, Rodrigo.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Muito obrigado, Érica, pela participação. Muito obrigado, Rodrigo, pelos complementos.